time. So now we're live. So welcome everybody. I am new to Streamline, so we're here a little bit late because I missed one of the buttons. But what I have learned on this Curious Voyage is to get curious about everything, and nothing is perfect. But I am so grateful that you are here. And one thing that's different than Facebook is that you need to click on so that I can see who you are and who's here. So feel free to click on next to your name, and then I will know that you're with me. So welcome, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you.
Cynthia, I'm just going to add that was about giving StreamYard
Oh, StreamYard.
permission so that people's names can show up and they're just not anonymous, because this is so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paula, who said that she ordered this book last night. So thank you and welcome, everybody. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you being here. And this has been an act of love surrounded by a lot of love. So thanks. The Curious Voyage is meant for people who are looking for a self-help book, a self-growth book, maybe a spiritual guidebook. And it's an opportunity, if you've been walking a path or reading different self-help books for a while, to pick up some new tidbits. One of my readers had said to me, you know, I've been on a path for nearly 20 years, but there was this exercise in there that meant a lot, and it helped me tremendously. And it was at the beginning of the book on getting to listen to our bodies, and it was on self-spotting. So that's told more about that in here. So the other person that, and if you have been walking a path for a long time and you're wanting to just undo something that feels a little bit stuck, you can set an intention that I'm going to use this guidebook for that purpose, and then walk through the process, and you'll go from that unaware, unstuck place to getting much more connected to your intuition and your authenticity. The other group of people that may help, well, it's going to help all of us in all the different ways that we choose to use it honestly, and that's being authentic, is to help those who are just starting out on a journey. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to get a roadmap, or as we might say, a navigation map. And it's laid out in a way that you can kind of dig a little bit deeper. Some of the beginning questions, for example, I have it laid out with stories and exercises, but there's also points of pausing. Think of decisions in your life that had a ripple effect on others. That's an example of a pause. The other thing that's laid out here is that I'm sharing a lot of personal stories about my own journey and my own struggles, and also the shifts and changes. And Stacey and I will share about something around that in a minute. And then the other thing is that I've been sitting for decades with people who have shared their pain, their struggles, and also their joy with me. And it's here to share that with you, to give you some hope and some strength. So what I wanted to do for some of our time together is to share about the voyage that Stacey and I have been on. And the other thing I wanted to do is to say that while you're working on this, I think that if you want to, keep a journal. And I mentioned that in the beginning of this. And on the resource page, actually, on my website, there's two different versions of the journal. One is a printable style, and one's more fillable, just whether if you prefer to work online or if you want to have paper and pen in hand. So you can get either one of those. And then there's other resources on the page that are packed with some videos related to the book, or some other resources that we do a shout out in the book. And there's, we're going to keep that updated so that you can get more and more support and suggestions as you go on the voyage. So, Stacy, you think this might be a good time to share our voyage?
Absolutely. And I've been watching the comments coming through, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar names, Idella and Richard, and I'm sure I'm going to miss someone. Hi, SE. So it kind of feels like old home week here on this. And I have to say, most of you that I just mentioned, and I'm sure some other folks here know that Cynthia and I, our journey together started a minute and a half ago. We both have studied a lot of spiritual foundations together. And so it just seemed like a natural connection, especially given that this content is, how do I say, it's familiar, it's similar to some of the content that I write about myself, but from Cynthia's therapy background, from her unique personal background, it was such, for me, to work with Cynthia on helping bring this to life, to work with her on the editing, to work with her on the design, was a voyage of discovery for myself. It really was beautiful. And I learned so much through the exercises that she put together, through her own stories, through the stories of her clients that are just really remarkable breakthroughs, every one of them. And it's all about that understanding of our own self.
Thanks, Stacy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the understanding, and I do point out in the book about working with our intention.
Oh, yeah.
Hold an intention. We have something that we intend for life or for a moment. And it's a decision. And once we make a decision, like if you indeed make the decision to take this beyond reading it or beyond, thank you very much, supporting me, because I can see lots of loved ones here. So I appreciate that. But if you really take this to heart and work with it, you're going to feel literally like a vibratory difference, because when we set a decision for something, it's like, first of all, from our brain, our neural pathways are going to start to create and develop in a new way. If we set an intention, we're going to turn that ship of life and we're going to steer it like towards that goal or towards that. Not that it's like writing a book. It takes a while, and I might think something, but it's a journey to bring it to fruition.
So. Oh, yes. Yes. And that really was part of the joy of it, because I mean, Cynthia, I hope you don't mind my sharing, because you had mentioned that this is something that was such a big part of bringing this book to life for you, was that you were really getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
in creating a written work. And it was really an honor. And it was inspiring to watch you on your voyage, right? As you moved into something that you now can say, hey, everybody, I am a published author, and something that you can be so proud of, because it really is going to transform a lot of lives. I mean, it transformed mine just working on it, Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I share about in the book, I wasn't going to share this, but I think because we talked before and talked about this very interesting story that I speak of about a parking lot.
Oh, my, yes.
Is that I share in the beginning about a class that I was about to go teach. And the class was going to be on belief systems. And I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do this class. So I go, and this was in New York City, and I go to park my car. And in New York, you got to get a parking spot, but it's all a little bit confusing. Like, is that car going to be passing me, or is that car trying to pull into the spot? So anyways, I didn't see a car. I was pulling into the spot, and then this man comes, and he comes pounding on my window and screaming at me. And I was like, a nervous wreck. It's like, okay, I'll leave. evidently he thought this spot was his spot. And so I go and I find another parking spot and I'm still shaking. And I thought, all right, that's really interesting. I'm about to go teach this class. So I had time to sit and wait and discover what I wanted to work with for the class, which was about beliefs and manifestation. So years later, and I see one of my colleagues, Chris Rank, is on here. She and I were teaching a class, and I go to pull into a parking spot. We're keeping it overnight. And lo and behold, somebody comes the next morning knocking on our window and says, by the way, do you know this is a tow-away zone? So my world had shifted from being yelled at to getting support. And then that afternoon, we had a flat tire, or I did, and some lady comes knocking on my window to say, you know, you have a flat tire. So I wrote about it because it's noticing the more we work on our belief systems and the more we work on our physicality and, you know, like our entire being, our mind, body, spirit, and emotion, all of it together, the more we can notice those changes and life will show up differently. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've seen again and again and again within myself, but also with my clients. And that's what will shift. So
well,
go ahead and tell your story with it.
Well, this story that Cynthia just told, when I was first working on the editing of it, it struck me. I didn't go, oh my gosh, that's a transformative story, but it was, because shortly after editing that, I was in a parking lot, and I was, let's say, because one of the things that was really key in that story that Cynthia just told was her agitation and anxiety before the guy attacked her, basically. And I was in a parking lot where I was not related to where I was. My head was someplace else, and I had some anxiety and I had some agitation. And wouldn't you know it, it was a grocery store parking lot. My cart got away from me at my car and rolled over and tapped a guy's car. He just happened to be in it, and he just happened to jump out and come at me and threatened to call the police and all kinds of things that made my agitation go even higher. But at that point, I had just finished editing that section of the book, and I went, wait, what is it about my belief system here, or about what's going on inside of me that's creating this energy right here in the parking lot? And I was able to switch into that idea that, wait, if I remain calm, then the water stills outside. And that's exactly what I did. I probably just looked at it with a blank stare, but I was shifting inside. And I actually got in my car and called my insurance company, and they said, oh, no, there's no problem. There's nothing that you need to worry about. You can just go on your merry way. And that's how life changes when we change. And that's one of the keys about this book that really made a big difference for me.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Stacy. So, do you have anything more to say? Because I'm going to switch you off, and then I'll go into it.
You can switch me off. I'm just excited for you. I'm excited for everyone to get a chance to have the same kind of wonderful experience that I did working with you on this. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. And I want you to know that this exquisite cover was designed by Stacy. And so thank you so much for helping to make it happen. So I'm going to read a quick passage from the book, and then I think that we'll open it up to question and answer. So this is called Developing Intuition, and it's in a section from chapter 5 on the intuition and receptivity. So I will skim a little bit for time purposes. You can develop your intuition with more body awareness. You can also practice various exercises, so some of which are in the book. There have been a number of times where I did not listen to my intuition. I heard my whispering little inner voice, but I reasoned it away. These situations left me with more problems than successes. I've become much better able to hear my own intuition over time, doing all the things described so far in this book. And I just want to say it takes time. I'm better able to become still and listen for it from a place of trust. My intuitive voice has become stronger than my ego voice, which trusts logic and forgets that I am connected to a wiser voice within. It didn't start that way. I was one of those people who used to make deals with God. For example, the day I locked the keys in the car, I told God, if you help me get them out, I promise not to be mean to myself anymore. Then there was the day I did not listen to the little voice that said, don't lose the bike lock key. And I did it anyway. I ended up having to go to the welder to have the lock cut off the back of my, the lock on the chain. I actually had to go because the locksmith could not do it. So look at those two examples. Keys are a common theme for me. Our intuition often shows up in these common thematic and highly symbolic ways. When we see them, we can explore and find even deeper meanings. So the question I ask is, what was your intuition, or what ways has your intuition been showing up lately in the pause? And as we develop our intuition, we become more receptive to its wisdom, voice, and energy. And this is an attribute of receptivity. So I'm going to pause there and then just see if anybody wants to put on a question that you might have in the chat. Feel free to, and then I think I can read them from here. And thank you for the title. Yes, even coming up with a title is a voyage, but listening to the intuition certainly helped on that one. Any thoughts or questions with what I read, or any shares? That might be the therapist in me. Okay. So if not, the other thing I'd like us to do for today is to do one of the exercises. So as I said to you, each of the chapters starts out with some thoughts, some stories, some pauses, and then at the end of the chapter, there's some exercises. So there's one exercise that I really like to work with, and I think it will be fun for us for today, and it's called the Ball of Light. And the other thing that I wanted to point out that I did in the book was in the addendum, to make it really easy for you to work with the exercises, is they're titled with the page number, or in Kindle it's titled and you can click on it and get to it. So that makes it pretty handy. So somebody did ask, what kind of resistance did you experience from others as you became more authentic? So Lauren, that's a beautiful question. So thank you. And let me pause and think about it. So some of the resistance, I have to say, the more I've discovered on myself, is really came from the way I interpreted my outer experiences and the way that it showed up also like in my body, because when we have experience, our body goes into a place of self-protection sometimes. And when we do that, also our minds kind of get more narrow and we can't see the fuller picture of things. So one of the big resistances along the way that I could talk about is when I kept on wanting other people to do things a certain way, and I would get really frustrated with them. And I would think that if you only did blah, 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 it would be better. And I was very frustrated because they weren't listening to me. And then sometimes I would have to be very forcing, or I would be kind of like maybe a little too kind or too sweet. So many times we will be either pushy, or we might even be a little bit manipulative to try to get our way. And when we function from that state, we're going to keep getting hit with resistance, because other people will not act kind to us when we're approaching them from a pushy, forcey, manipulative approach. And when I was able to really turn that back on myself and see that when I thought I was really trying and I kept asking something, I was actually being very controlling. So Stacy asks, what made you decide to put all the exercises in? And it's because I'd be sitting in session year after year with people, and they would say to me, do you have that exercise that we worked last time? Or did you write that exercise down? And I was like, no. And then sometimes people would say, that would be really great to put in a book. So I can even tell you a really quick story about manifesting and how things show up. Is I was working really hard on the book, getting to the near end, and this one person who was the first person that said to me, you should really put that you should write a book, actually called me in that moment. And that's how life works. And the more you work on yourself, the more I have found, and many people that I've walked with and sat with have found. And it was through doing exercises like this in the book that helped me peel away the layers. So that's why I have it laid out as it does, to help you kind of peel away and peel through. So I hope that helps. Oh yeah. Are there more questions? Thanks, Nikki. Hi. Oh, right. Sorry. This is like when you tap your head and you rub your belly all at the same time. And I think I'm a little bit better at that than reading and seeing and talking. 53. So this is called The Ball of Light. It's from page 153. And I think it might be a great way as we come towards closure. Oh, hi, TJ. TG. Thanks for the shout out. And Lauren also asked, does the journal come automatically when we order the book? No, it's a link to the reference page, so you'll get it that way. So somebody asked me, how long did it take to write the book? So that's a great question. If writing is only the time clock on when you're literally sitting and writing it. But if it's about the journey, the voyage of it, I could say over the years I had scraps of paper. Then I attempted to write a book. Somebody told me that he could help me. And what I ended up to do was write something that sounded very depressing to me. So I decided to scratch that and just throw it away. And so again, I had to go back and work on the self to get to that place that I was healed enough from my pains that I could tell you my pain, but not be attached to it, so that it could be of service to you. And so from the time that I sat, and I said, I'm going away for the weekend. So I went with my girlfriend. I said, you're welcome to join me, but I got to write a book. So I sat still. And from that moment on, it's been 2.5 years. And the person that really encouraged me to just put it on paper and let go of worrying about it was Drew Brazier. And I don't know if he's still here, but I saw his name up there before. So just a shout out and thanks. And I also want to tell you that along the way, John Cohen helped to put all my words and all my thoughts out there as well. So thanks for being here. Let's see. So thank you all for such celebration and excitement. And I'm going to share with you, because we can be anxious or we can get excited. So I shifted it this morning by doing this exercise myself with my exercise partner, who after we exercise, we sit and meditate together. So if you want to get comfortable, we can go through this process called the ball of light, and it's a cleansing our energy. So take a few deep breaths and let yourself get settled in wherever you are. Feel your feet on the ground, wiggle your toes, kind of just settle down. And this is going to help you clear your body's energy for more vitality. So it's a good middle of the day. We're going to start with imagining a ball of light at the top of your head. And that ball is going to slowly roll down. So take a moment to take a few deep breaths. And just imagine a ball of light at the top of your head. And this ball of light will slowly grow as it descends and gathers all the negative thoughts and feelings and sensations that are weighing you down. So imagine the ball of light now having a violet light. And notice how bright the violet light is. Have it start to gather particles of busy thoughts. And as it gathers the particles of busy thoughts, they might be blocking thoughts, blocked ideas, fears, and worries, blocking you from being open-minded and feeling peace around connection. So let all that is not supporting your guidance, wisdom, and inner strength gather into the ball of light. So you breathe in and out. Notice the ball of light moving down towards your forehead and in between your eyes. Many people call this the third eye. And notice it having an indigo light, letting all that is blocking your vision and willingness to see the beauty of life gather on the ball of light. Let all that is blocking you from seeing with greater consciousness and clarity gather on the ball of light. So you keep breathing in and out. Well, now watch it continue to roll into your throat area, turning into a blue light. Here are all the things that are blocking you from self-expression, speaking your truth, needs, that inner voice and creativity gathering onto the ball of light. Just being with it as it gathers onto the ball of light. And the ball of light continues to roll towards your heart and chest with a green glow to it. Let all that is affecting your heart area gather onto the ball, such as loneliness, resentment, grief or loss. As you breathe in and out, it continues to roll into your stomach area with a yellow light. Let all that is not supporting your wisdom and intuition gather on the ball, such as self-doubt, the opinion of others, and ideas of unworthiness. The ball continues to roll into your lower stomach with the color orange. Let all that is negatively impacting your relationships go onto the ball, and watch your thoughts continue to move onto the ball. As you breathe in and out, the ball continues to roll to the base of your spine and takes on the color red. And let all that impacts your self-worth gather onto the ball. As you continue to breathe in and out, see the ball move down your body, out your lower spine and your lower legs, all the way through the floorboards of the building you are in, letting it roll through the foundation, into the soils, and all the layers of the earth into the waters, all the way down to the molten lava. And may the fire transform it into clarity and beauty. And take a few deep breaths. You might want to wiggle. I see some people might need to leave exactly at 2. So I'm just gonna say thank you again. And Stacy, if you want to join in to say goodbye or say anything. But I'd love to also hear from anybody who wants to say something in the chat. Feel free to as we come towards closure.
Well, I just am grateful to you, Cynthia, for letting me go on this voyage with you. And I know that what I experienced, of course, is just for me, but I'm certain that everybody here is going to have their own personal experience with this. So I think it'll be fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I guess in some traditions, they say namaste.
Indeed.
So thank you all so much for being here. Tamara, thank you for that. I'm glad that it was helpful. And for all of you, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll see you on the voyage. And we'll each bring our ship of life. Be well. Bye.